November 23rd meeting of the Transportation Committee will now come to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Mr. Ansello? Here. Mr. Barker is excused. Dr. Carbone? Here. Chairman Colby?
Here.
Mr. Gamble? Here. Mr. Patterson? Here. Mrs. Valerio?
Is there anyone signed up for a public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present at this time that would like to address the committee? Seeing none, the next item on the, we don't have the, we have the presentation,
Nope.
the approval of the
Minutes
minutes for your November 20th meeting of the Transportation Committee are before you. They stand approved unless there's any changes made to the clerk by the end of today. We have the proposal budget as it pertains to transportation by Robert Franklin. Are you ready?
Nope, it'll come on anyway. It's a computer.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Now it's making noise. Oh, there you go.
I guess I wasn't supposed to close this. We're supposed to turn it off. Okay, we'll get brighter. Well, while we're waiting for this to brighten up, there it goes. Just a real quick intro. I want to give a very high-level picture of our county budget, just to put in broader context the conversations we'll have related to transportation. Going into 2014, the county's operating budget is just over $1 billion, about $3.8 million less than the budget for 2013. And offsetting is an increase in our grants budget going to 2014, basically $175.8 million, which is roughly $4 million higher. Therefore, the total budget for the county going into next year is just over or just under $1.2 billion. It's roughly only a $200,000 change from 2013. I would like to also note that our 2014 budget fully complies with the Local Taxpayer Protection Act of 2007, and it also complies with New York State's tax cap. Tonight we'll be speaking about our Department of Transportation. Their budget going into 2014 is just over $31,200,000. That is up a little bit from 2013, as you can see, $29.7 million and change. I tried to give you a little description of what's going on inside the Department of Transportation. These aren't really divisions. Last year, the word they used was item. I didn't like that either. So sections is what you'll see in the budget book. But there are 16 sections, and if I were to list them all, it would have been a 8-point font. You wouldn't be able to see it. Transportation Department has a lot of areas that either increased or decreased $50, $100, $200,000. One thing I believe will jump out at you in the budget book is the increase in debt service. That item alone increased over $1.8 million. You'll see that increase across the what I call division level appropriations, but really they're mainly concentrated in road maintenance, traffic engineering, and bridges. Highlighting a few notes for DOT, I basically stole these out of the 2014 objectives. I picked these objectives to highlight because they're not what I typically think about when I think of transportation. This isn't paving roads or building bridges. It's other things they do. For example, installing additional traffic monitoring cameras and connecting new intersections to the centralized traffic signal system using both wireless and wired technology. They're also planning to complete their countdown pedestrian signal indication project. That is the crosswalk signals that actually count down from 10 to 0, letting you know when you're not supposed to walk into the crosswalk. and also install the audible tactile pedestrian crossing devices at high priority crosswalks, and that's mainly for the visually impaired and blind. They're also continuing to update their high accident location program database to identify priority locations needing traffic studies to identify options for safety measures to improve traffic safety. What you may not know, well, most of you probably know, but often we don't speak about the county's contribution to our bus company, RGRTA. New York State statute requires Monroe County to contribute matching dollars to the state contribution. That's defined in Section 18B of Transportation Law. Our budget both last year and going into 2014 is just over $3.5 million. And that really concludes this presentation for the Transportation Committee. So when I get back to the table, we'll field your questions and provide answers. Thank you.
I will now open it up to the floor for any members of the committee in regards to questions regards to the Transportation Committee or budget. Mr. Gamble.
Through the chair, we just had the presentation about to complete the countdown pedestrian signal indicators. How many are we talking about? And do we have a cost for that? Through the chair.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I'm going to be going off the top of my head now.
Okay.
With this. So we have approximately 640 traffic signals. I would say we may have about 2,000 pedestrian indications of the countdown that we'll be putting in. We were very fortunate, and we'll be coming back, but we're very fortunate we got federal money, as we noted here earlier this year, to pay for about 98% of our costs.
Thank you very, very much. The other question is about the locations for the high accident locations. Do you have that list through the chair?
Through the chair, I do not have that with me this evening. We have approximately 50 intersections or sections of road in the city and the county that will be studying this year. Ongoing right now, we got about 8% complete. We started it. This is since September. We have about 8% complete, but I don't have the list of where they are. It's both city and county intersections and sections of road.
Through the chair, is it possible when you get that list you can present it to the site or to our colleagues?
Through the chair, certainly I'll get that list to Jerry to get to you.
Thank you very much.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Legislator Patterson.
Thank you. Through the chair, just a couple of quick questions. Page 340, in 2014, the lane miles of highway being reconstructed are dropping to only 2. They were 9.6 in 2012 and 4.5 in 2013. Can you kind of explain to us what's going on there?
Through the chair, repeat the question, what specifically you're asking.
So it looks like from what we're seeing here, the lane miles of highway being reconstructed are dropping from only 2, and apparently they were 9.6 in 2012 and 4.5 in 2013.
Yes, through the chair. It's really more the type of work that have been doing for several years, or at least back in 2012, and then continuing into this year. We had some big reconstruction projects: Lincoln Avenue, Westfall, Portland, putting in a new road on Jetview Drive, John Street last year, and now the projects are not really reconstructions. Some of the projects going forward, there's just the one next year was Long Pond Road, a section of it. The other one that we'll be doing major work next year is more of a rehabilitation of the road on Pinnacle. That's later on in the agenda. So it's just really more the function of the type of work that we're doing. It's not so much a total replacement of the road. It's more rehabilitation of the road, and that's as seen in our CIP.
Okay. Through the chair, we're also seeing that lane miles of highways being rehabilitated are dropping from 19.5 in 2013 to 4.3 in 2014.
Through the chair, I would say similarly, this year, like East Ridge Road was a major road that was done, and it was, I called that more of a rehabilitation, and just that there's, I don't know if it was that we got backed up or whatever, or we just had a lot of projects going on in 2012 and 2013, some major highway projects that were under design for several years and came to fruition, and now it's just, as you go into 2014, the same amount aren't there, but we're gearing up with some designs that will have more projects in 15.
Okay. Through the chair, lane miles of highways sealed are dropping from 134 to 125. Same thing?
Yeah, through the chair, in essence, the same thing. I mean, we have not put together our program for 2014 yet, but we're anticipating that we will see a little bit more of resurfacing, as you see later on page 340, and maybe we'll not seal as much as we did. And resurfacings cost more than ceilings.
Okay. Well, also towards that end, then, so we're also seeing lane miles of highways being resurfaced are dropping from 40 to 25.
Through the chair, but an increasing from 2013, where we only estimate we're going to have 17. It's actually an increase from 17 to 25, from 13 to 14. But it's really all in all, it's what kind of tools in the toolbox we're doing in a particular year, and they change based on we try to do the right treatment at the right time.
Okay, going up. All right. So through the chair, page 727. There's a new charges to other governments of $6,090. $690,000. I'm sorry. What is this charge?
Mr. Chairman, that is a charge that would be negotiated between the county and the city of Rochester for traffic engineering and related services.
Through the chair. So it's simply for traffic engineering and nothing else?
Mr. Chairman, items would include traffic studies, traffic investigations, sign fabrication, signal maintenance and operations, City of Rochester programming.
Through the chair, signal operations, is that something that is charged to the city at this current time?
Mr. Chairman, it's not currently being charged.
Through the chair, is it proposed that in the upcoming budget year it will now be a charged item?
Mr. Chairman, reps from the county need to sit down with the city to begin discussions about this topic and negotiate a contract. So it has not been executed as of yet, but it needs to happen in the future?
Through the chair, so in the future, you were proposing to charge for signal operations for the city of Rochester?
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Through the chair, will other municipalities be charged for signal operation other than the city of Rochester?
Through the chair, the other municipalities, i.e. the towns, for town signals are charged now.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, is this charge going to be included in the local services charge on the county tax bill?
Mr. Chairman, no, it would be a bill pursuant to a contract.
So through the chair, this will not be on my county tax bill when I go to look at it of all the things that I'm paying for. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I believe you're asking, is this a below-the-line charge? It is not, and it's a invoice between the county and the city.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, page 728, road maintenance, charges the local governments for $881,000. What is this, please?
Mr. Chairman, the overwhelming majority is related to pavement markings, about $831,000, but also $50,000 in sign fabrication and installation.
Thank you. Through the chair, wasn't sign fabrication a service that was pretty much provided to everyone previously without an additional charge, or has this always been something that's charged?
Through the chair, no, we've charged towns for for several years, many years, for any signs fabrication that they want for their roads.
Thank you. Through the chair, is this charge a local services chargeback on tax bills?
Mr. Chairman, no. Similar to my prior answer, this is invoice between the county and the municipality.
Okay. Through the chair, page 729. Well, let's go there. $5.2 million in revenue in 2012 related to snow and ice control chargeback, but the charge did not begin until 2013, until the 2013 budget and tax bills. The 2012 budget was zero. Where did this revenue in 2012 come from?
Mr. Chairman, the way we all call them below-the-line charges. The way the below-the-line charge work, the amount put on the 2013 tax levy relates to costs for the prior year. Just as what you will see on your 2014 bill will relate to the cost for the 2013 year.
Okay. Through the chair, how will the allocation of the chargebacks for snow and ice removal be determined for towns?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to clarify the question. Is the question how is the charge to a town derived or the amount on a tax bill?
How is that, overall, how is that charge going to be determined? Is it going to be determined by lane miles located in the town, or is it going to be determined by some other methodology?
Through the chair, I'm not quite clear. We're not quite clear what you're asking.
Okay.
To make sure we answer it correctly.
Well, I'll tell you what, through the chair, let's try and give me an answer, and I'll follow up with the answer you give me.
Mr. Chairman, I'll give you two answers, and we'll
Good.
see which one sticks.
I like it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the charge to the town is based on the contract between the county and the city, the county and the municipality, for which is performing the snow plowing services. So if the town charges $1 million for their snow plowing, that's what we have to figure for the town. how does a dollar amount appear on your tax bill? The value of the snow plowing contract for the town is divvied out amongst the property owners based on the value of their property.
Okay. So, let's hear the other one, through the chair. If you
Mr.
could,
Chairman,
please.
that was both.
That
How it
was
gets charged to
both?
the town, and one was
Okay.
how it gets charged to the
One was
property
one
owner.
side, one was the other one.
Okay.
How it came in, how it went out.
So, through the chair, last year we had some controversy and concern regarding something that we on this side of the aisle affectionately refer to as the snow tax. Does that still exist in this upcoming budget cycle?
Mr. Chairman, you can call it a snow tax if you want. This is a fee-for-service arrangement, and the math behind putting a dollar amount on a tax bill will remain consistent with last year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Mary Valerio.
I just had a question regarding the precipitous rate of increase in a lot of the fees for permits, and what's driving that?
Through the chair, we looked at what our actual costs were and felt that we should get as close as we can to our actual cost on some things. We did a cost study, and so we're proposing an increase in some of the fees in light of what that study identified.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to, oh, yes. Legislator Gamble.
Thank you, Chair. Is it possible I can get a copy of the cost study through the chair?
Through the chair, when I say cost study, they looked and they talked about how many hours approximately. I don't think was an official study that was done in terms of people gathering up hours. We looked at what we were getting and about how much our efforts were on the inspection or on the review, and said we think we aren't getting enough money for what our efforts are. So I wouldn't say, I can't go in and say I got 30 pieces of information for this particular project or this particular permit and said, let's increase it to this amount. It's not quite to that extent.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. Madam Chairman.
Referral 13-308.
Moved by Dr. Cabone, second by Anisalo. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Referral
Moved by
13-309.
Mrs. Sallow, second by Mary Valerio. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, madam.
Referral
Moved by
13-319.
Mary Valerio, second by Dr. Capone. Any questions? Legislator Patterson.
Thank you. Through the chair, could you tell us a little bit more about this particular project and what's going on with it here?
Through the chair, this appropriation by New York State DOT is in conjunction with the 390 corridor project improvement between basically the Genesee Valley Park and East Henrietta Road, the reconfiguration of the on-ramps and off-ramps to improve traffic flow through the area. This particular appropriation will allow them to put a new northbound on-ramp from 390 from actually Mount Hope, West Henrietta Road to 390 North.
That's fine. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Is there any other matters to come before this committee? There's been no other matters. The November 26th meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Transportation Committee is scheduled for December 17th. Thank you.